Before I begin this video, I shouldn't even say this, but I'm gonna say it. You know what I'm saying? Because I see it and I read it in the comment sections. You know what I'm saying? First and foremost, I don't mean to be disrespectful to anyone, whether it's people that live in the north and people that live in the south. But it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? This is not like, you know, the things that I'm saying, it's not like I'm making this stuff up. The things that I talk about as far as dealing with the northern states, the things that I talk about as far as dealing with the southern states. So stop trying to, you know, ruffle your feathers over the truth. It is what it is. And it's just that plain and simple. So with this video, you southerners, don't get upset with me. That's just the way that it is. I didn't make it this way. It is what it is. It was gonna happen whether you liked it or not. It's just that plain and simple. So, which brings me to this video. Northerners, people from the West Coast, the Midwest, the South is not what it used to be. The South that people talk about is something, a narrative that existed maybe 25 years ago. In other words, the South is not the South anymore, and it's just that plain and simple. It's nothing that anybody could do about it, and it's nothing. People such as the charlatans that live in Charlotte know exactly what I'm talking about. Charlotte has changed so much to the point where I can tell you, the first time I came here, right, 2009. If I compared Charlotte to 2009 Charlotte to 2020 Charlotte, I can tell you that that whole slab that's on Stonewall Street, that all of those high-rise buildings, or high-rise, apartments, or maybe condos, I don't know what they call them, condos or apartments, that whole slab going down straight Stonewall Street didn't even exist. South End didn't even exist. South Boulevard didn't even exist. I mean, they called it South End. South Boulevard was a street, yeah, but I'm saying it wasn't nothing popping off over there. Matter of fact, further down, let me tell you something. The charlatans know exactly what I'm talking about. Further down South Boulevard, they used to have a drive-in movie. That's what I'm talking about. So the South that people have, this picture that people have painted that don't live here doesn't exist. There's no dirt roads. Ain't nobody going, ain't nobody got no farm. People going to the grocery store. In other words, I give these southern states, such as, well, I'll give these southern cities that's in states like North Carolina, Georgia, Florida, and the likes, I give them 100 years, and I'm telling you, they're gonna be just like New York. So for those that sit back and say, don't tell the New Yorkers to come down here because they're gonna mess up things, you know, we're already at full capacity. We don't need a whole lot of people. We don't need the things to change up and then messing up our culture. It's already gonna get messed up. It's already, Charlotte right now is metamorphosing into something that, like I said, in 2009, yo, I didn't see this coming. I saw them building, and I was like, oh man, okay, y'all building. You know, people build. That's nothing new. But to leave Charlotte and come back 2.5 years later and get lost. I got lost. I'm like, yo, they are changing streets and building stuff where that area wasn't number dirt over there last time but 2 months later, it's a building up. What they're doing to South Tryon, like right when South End and South Tryon meets, like South Tryon runs straight across South End, or kind of straight through. I don't know how you put it, but It runs straight through, and it goes all the way up to Uptown, and then from Uptown it changes over to North Tryon. But that little area right there where Hot Tacos is and all of that stuff, it wasn't nothing over there. It was like an old train or something like that. It was like a train museum. Wasn't none of those buildings and none of that stuff over there. The only thing that was on South Boulevard, you know, like for charlatans, y'all know what I'm talking about. Like where Blaze is at, and they got this big high rise right dead in the middle. Like you could see it like a mile away that they're building at South End. Well, where Blaze is at and where Jenny's is at, none of that stuff existed. None of that stuff existed a couple years ago. I know. The only thing that was there was that Kitchen's Coupe or whatever that they would, you know, a famous, it's like real old school. It's like real vintage. When you go there, it's like kind of like, why is that here? Because everything else is new. Sabor, Latin Sabor, Grill. What's the other thing? It's another joint. I forgot that restaurant on the corner. Why did I forget about that? But anyway, yo, the South is not the South anymore. I can guarantee you that. I've lived in Raleigh, and when I left Raleigh, they was in the makings of changing the city over. So I know if I were to go back, I haven't been in Raleigh in 9 years. I haven't been to Durham in like 5-6 years. I can tell you, I went, so I was living in Charlotte the first time, right? And you know how like, so I moved. I moved to Still Creek from the university area. You know how you got that gray area when your apartment is not ready? So my apartment wasn't ready. I had to wait like a whole month. So of course, I didn't want to renew the lease, and I didn't want to pay like an extra $300 to stay there. So I wound up living with my sister for like a couple of, like, well, about a month and a half. I went back to Durham. I got lost. The South is not the South anymore. It's just not. And let's not talk about Atlanta. I mean, I despise the place, but I have to be honest. There's some parts of Atlanta that look like New York, especially when you get down to the Piedmont Park area. And let's not talk about Buckhead. Buckhead is a city outside of the downtown Atlanta. These southern states, such as your southern cities, such as your Charlotte, your Atlanta, your Jacksonville, your Houston, your Dallas. These places are starting to look like New York. Now, I did not say that they were New York. I didn't say that they would ever get to that point. I said starting to look like. I'm sorry, Southerners, but your cities have been taken over. It's a hostile takeover. And these transplants, they're basically bringing their families down as well as their culture. So what's happening is, let me give you an example. What's happening is, let's say a bunch of West Indians come down to Charlotte, right? Now West Indians have a culture. They have, they talk patois, and they eat West Indian food, and and all it. So my point in making is that they're gonna come down here and say, yo, where's the West Indian restaurants at? Where's this at? Where's that? You know what I'm saying? Where the clubs at? Where the West Indian clubs? You know what I'm saying? In the case of Jamaicans, where the Jamaican club at? Where the Jamaican food? Where the Jamaican restaurants? And guess what? Somebody's gonna accommodate them. And that's how you have that hostile takeover. Other different cultures and races come down here, and then they want to live here, but at the same time they want to be able to enjoy the things that they were enjoying from the area that they were from. So sooner than later, you're gonna have Little China, Little Italy. Hell, y'all don't even know this, but originally, I'm not gonna say originally because Charlotte was always named Charlotte, but the blacks named their area in Charlotte Brooklyn. Y'all didn't know that, right? They had a Black Wall Street. They had a Harlem in Charlotte, and they named it Brooklyn. That's History 101 for you people that don't know anything about Charlotte. They also had an area called Cherry, which now is Midtown. They gentrified that up. I seen it. I seen Midtown, them literally build Midtown up. Other than that, before, they didn't have none of that stuff up there. They didn't have that Target, they didn't have those Wendy's, they didn't have none of that. That park area, you know, that runs like all the way into Freedom Park, where you could walk and you could ride your bike all the way to Freedom Park and run straight through. It runs from Midtown straight down under the atrium. I think it's under the atrium. Like, it's not under like the hospital, but it's like kind of like it's a dip or something like that, and then it comes all the way up to Freedom Park. So you can actually ride from Central Peace, I think it's CPCC, the 2-year college, ride your bike from there all the way down to Freedom Park. That whole area, I was there when they built that. Yo, the South is not the South anymore. I'm sorry. I apologize. I think I was one of the persons that made it the way it is now. And it wasn't just me, it was millions. Hundreds of thousands. When I used to take 77, back in 2009, I didn't really have to worry about traffic that much. It's just that plain and simple. We had, you know, a little bit of traffic here and there. 77 now, let's take away COVID-19, even though it still gets busy. But once this thing clears up and it's back to business, yo, 77, 277, 485, cluttered. The South ain't the South anymore, man. It's just not. We're not down here eating watermelon and spitting it out. I love watermelon, you know what I'm saying? And I love growing watermelon. But we're not out here eating watermelon, like you know what I'm saying? And spitting it out in the front of the yard, talking about what y'all gonna do today. Those negative stigmas on the South, it don't exist. Now, in the South, on a Saturday, we're like getting dressed up. And we going to the club, or we going to some fancy restaurant, or we going to a bar that's on the 13th floor in Uptown. That's swanked out, that you gotta be a member in order to go to. I forgot the name of the bar, but it only costs $25 to be a member. We got somewhat of the same things that Atlanta has, just on a smaller scale. But this is a different South. A different and new South that really Northerners, people that are from the bigger cities that are used to partying to a club on a 25th floor, they're used to that. It's new here, but we got it. I was doing Postmates because I do that on the side. I was doing Postmates, right? What high-rise building I went into? I think it was, I can't remember, man. I think it was on Stonewall. I think the novel on Stonewall. I think that's what it was. I went to like the 13th floor, and I had to walk like on the other side of the building because it's big. I walked through the pool area. I'm like, what? Say word. Y'all get busy like that? South ain't the South anymore. It's just not. I got invited one year. This guy it was my birthday, and I was, you know, he was asking me. I was cool with him because I used to hustle up there, right up uptown, right where Wells Fargo is at, right where in that middle part where you got all of those. You got the man with the hammer. It's where Southron meets, I forgot, but it's like the intersection. And Bank of America is right across the street from it. I used to hustle over there. I used to sell my books, you know what I'm saying? So as the business people, you know, the bankers will come out, I would be like, yo, you want to check out my book? You know, spit my gift to gab. And I used to do fairly decent up there in Uptown. It's crazy. But anyway, I used to be up there, and, you know, I got cool with this one dude. So he came up to me one day, and he was like, yo, man, what you doing this weekend? I was like, I don't know, you know, it's my birthday or whatever. He was like, yo, I'm gonna give you this joint right here, and we having a party, a party on a yacht, on a boat. But I mean, you could come. You know, I'm inviting you. I'm giving you the ticket to come. but you got to wear all white. So we having all white parties at Lake Norman, just like New York would have those boat parties. This is not the Old South. If you want that Old South, it is here, but it's not in places like Charlotte, Raleigh, Durham. It's not. That's Greensboro. It's not there. You're not gonna see a bunch of people with farms and and pickup trucks. I mean, you're gonna see that in Atlanta, yo. You know what? I'm gonna end it like this. I get tired of throwing Atlanta under the boat or under the bus or whatever have you, but it's just the truth. Like, yo, as far as advanced Atlanta is, as far as how their city, their skyline looks, you know what I'm saying? All of these high-rise buildings and so much stuff to do. I could tell you, like, North Carolina, this is the first thing. Like, everybody, I've lived in Atlanta, I've lived in Orlando, and everybody seems to think that North Carolina is not a southern state. I don't know whether it's because it's called North Carolina, but I can tell you that, I'm just telling you the truth, charlatans, nobody considers you all the South. And then technically you're not. I'm telling you, because the culture is totally different. Totally different when you get to Atlanta and Orlando, Tampa, Jacksonville, Mississippi, Alabama, Texas. Totally different. North Carolina has that kind of like 50-50, that swirl, as you may call it, type relationship. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's half and half. It's South, but then again, it's not. But anyway, Atlanta, Georgia, that's the real South. So when you driving, like, not so much in Atlanta, the city limits, but when you driving out in Alpharetta, and going further out to Forsyth County, you're gonna see pickup trucks with Confederate flags. I've seen that numerous times. Period. You're gonna see that. So if you want that real Southern, that like that, yo, you know, eyes going down to the store there and give me a Pepsi with some what you call them, overalls, you know, the farmer suit, the farmer outfit with a raggedy hat and some raggedy boots, you know what I'm saying, and dirt on them and everything. Don't come here to Charlotte. You're not gonna get that. You're gonna get city. Atlanta, you're gonna get city. Jacksonville, you're gonna get city. Dallas, you're gonna get city. Houston, you're gonna get city. Raleigh, you're gonna get city. Durham is gonna give you a little bit of city. So I just wanted to clear that up. Straight up. The South is not what it used to be. That plain and simple. It is, sorry, you Southerners, it's turned into cities. Real cities. A lot of these cities also have trains. That's unheard of. I think Houston has one. If I'm not mistaken, Dallas, I know Houston has one. I'm not mistaken, Dallas. Atlanta definitely has MARTA. We have, you know, we got our light rail because that's what it is. But we have a train called Lenox train. So the South is metamorphosizing into something different. And I know y'all don't like it, but that's the way it is. I didn't have any involvement in it. You know, I just moved here and I wanted city, but it's not like, when I mean I didn't have no involvement in it, is they've been in the works of this. Like, they got documentaries on Charlotte in the late 1970s where they were saying, we want this football stadium to be here, we want this building to be here. The infrastructure, they already had the blueprint for this city already planned out. So this is nothing new. This is the reason why, and I'm gonna end it like this. This is the reason why Charlotte is like one of the fastest growing cities, and it's on point because they planned for this to happen. They planned for it. It was a well thought out plan. And what happened with Atlanta is it wasn't planned. It was just rushed. As soon as they had the Olympics there, it boom, took off. And now what they're trying to do is just catch up And it's still people coming. But what Charlotte is doing, which is amazing, they already are building. They are ready for the next 100,000, 200,000 people to come. They have housing already ready. So if anybody want to sit back and say, this dude is always talking about Charlotte, this, that, and so forth, I tell you what, I say this. Charlotte has amazed me. I'm not talking about on an urban aspect. I'm talking about just overall the way the city is set up and how they got their shit together. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I seen the documentary. Y'all can't tell me different. I seen a documentary. These men had this designed in the 1970s on just how they wanted to be. And 2020, that's pure genius. Period. I'm done, man. Y'all can like it. Y'all can share the video. Subscribe. All that. Later.